Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Money Monday. I'm Ronnie, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Lion. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, I know somebody who might be seeing this might be their first time or just new to wholesaling because we're doing a whole lot of things new, and they're trying to figure out, man, how do I come up with my first offer number? Like, what am I supposed to do? And so here at Simple Wholesaling, we like to come up with simple formulas and give you simple solutions that are practical that you can use today, like after you get finished watching this video. So very simply, what we do is just a very, 60% or 70% of ARV. So for instance, if a ARV, because we're going to use safe and round numbers, if an ARV for a property is $100,000, you talk with the motivated sellers, you're able to look and see, hey, this property is worth about $100,000. Where should you put your numbers, or where should you work your numbers back from? Okay, so the traditional rule is that most investors like to buy their properties at 70% minus 70% of the ARV. So if a property is worth $100,000, most investors would like to be at 70% of that, which would make that $70,000, and then minus the repairs that they have to put into the property. That's where they traditionally would like to be. So what we do, is we actually work our numbers back a little more conservatively. Now there are some people that what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, if it's $100,000, that's ARV, and I know that I'm going to need to be at 70% of whatever that is. So the $70,000, they'll do that, and then they'll go minus $10,000 to try to make up their fee, or whatever they want their fee to be. Maybe it's $15,000, and that's a practical way to do that. That's fine. But what we do is we want to usually be more conservative, because the thing about in making offers, you can always come up, but it's definitely hard to go back and try to go back down or renegotiate. So what we do is that we make our numbers go 60% of whatever the ARV is. So if it's $100,000 property, we're saying, okay, we're going to probably need to be at about $60,000 if it's a really good property, at 60% of that, and then also minus the estimated repairs, which that's a whole nother conversation. So we'll just kind of go to action items. So if you're looking at a property on 123 Main Street, $100,000 ARV, we're saying, okay, we'll probably need to be at about $60,000. And we'll say, okay, well, maybe there's just a roof. So maybe that's, $10,000 need to be done. So now our offer is going to be at $50,000. So then, the seller says, okay, yeah, that works. And so then once we get it under contract at that $50,000, then we're able to go and talk with our other investors and say, hey, look, now I have this contract that I have. And, now I can, can you buy it for $62,000? So then that makes sense, because guess what? You've been able to get the investor work their numbers back. It's well under 70% of that. So then they're seeing value, you have value, and it's something that the seller also agreed as well. So that's a very simple way to kind of think things through, is when you're working through your formulas, knowing that your end investor is going to want to be 70% all in. So you can either go 70% and then minus your whatever you want your fee to be, or you can go a little bit more conservatively and maybe go 60%, or depending on the neighborhood, 65. It just kind of depends on what type of neighborhood it is, because that formula isn't going to work in every neighborhood, especially like a class B or C, but class B or A. But more so in your DC neighborhoods, this is where this formula would be most practical and easy for you guys to use. So that's how I would suggest that you guys come up with your ARV. If you're having trouble, and want more work with that, you can definitely inbox me, or you can also email me at offers@simplequarters.com, and I would be glad to just kind of just look over a loose number of what you have going on. The other thing is I would also talk with, because maybe you're not here in our market, you might be in Texas or Colorado or California. Talk with other people that you trust, other investors in your market, and just kind of see where they think and what's going on in those neighborhoods, because I know things can definitely be different depending on the city. Okay. So that is our edition for Money Mondays. Say bye, Mr. Lion. All right, guys, have a good one.